Okay, very good. So last session we finished here on vertical complementary strategy. Yeah, we talked about different strategic alliances. We stopped here on vertical when we said that the firms agree to use their skills and capabilities in different stages. So we discussed the vertical complementary strategy. Now we go to horizontal. So the horizontal strategic alliance is when partners combine their resources and skills to create value in the same stage of the value chain. So vertical, we discussed that there's different stages of value chain. Like we discussed that, like the suppliers and us, we can have some strategic alliance. But in this case, there are two similar companies. They have similar value chains, and they're actually at the same level, same stage of value chain where they combine their skills. The focus is on long-term product development and distribution opportunities, and partners may become competitors. So as you can see, partners later on they become competitors. So this is the danger of the horizontal complementary strategic alliance, where two partners, where two companies that they have actually the horizontal complementary strategic alliance later on, as they learn from each other, they try to separate and then beat down the other competitor. So that's the downside of it. So basically, competition response strategy, the complementary alliance and competition response alliance. So complementary alliance occurs when firms join forces to respond to strategic action of another competitor. So mostly this type of alliance happens when two partners where they gather together to respond to a bigger company. Let's say, as Google is very big, there'll be some other small companies join together to be able to compete with Google. So that's when like complementary alliance happens. Or because they can be difficult to reserve and expensive to operate, the strategic alliance are primarily formed to respond to the strategic rather than tactical actions. So this competition response alliance, strategic alliance, is not something cheap that happens so that people just do it as a tactic. Mostly it's done as a strategy. It's a very big step, and not every company is going to do that. And it takes a lot of preparation and research and study to be able to have a successful one. So you don't want to just create a strategic alliance and then have a failure. You want it to be successful because you spend a lot of time and money and energy and resources. So you definitely want it to be a successful alliance. You don't want it to be a waste. So that's very important. Then uncertainty reducing a strategy. When we have this type of uncertainty reducing strategy, they're used to hedge against risk and uncertainty. So as we discussed, as for alliances, There are a lot of times when you are going into a new market or new country or new region, so you create a strategic alliance. So that helps you to reduce risk and uncertainty. Let's say your company is going to go to China and you haven't been there, like your company, this is the first time. So it actually helps if you could have some alliance with some local Chinese company. That helps you to reduce the risk and uncertainty, because when it comes to local regulations and all that, that company is going to help you out. So these alliances are most noticed in these alliances are mostly noticed in fast cycle markets. If you remember, in the previous session we discussed the fast cycle, which is the reason for that is we want to speed up development of new products, speed up the market entry. So the whole purpose is to speed up the process, speed up the product development, speed up the market entry, maintain market leadership. So you want to be a leader, and then form an industry technology standard. You share the risky R&D expenses. We discussed that research and development is very expensive. So a lot of times the alliances, the partners, they share the expenses with each other. And as you can see, the last one is overcome the uncertainty, which is actually what we discussed in this slide. Then an alliance may be formed to reduce the uncertainty associated with developing new products or technology standards. So as we discussed, it helps to reduce the uncertainty and helps with the development of new products and technology standards. So it also helps you to reduce the competition. So created to avoid destructive or excessive competition. So let's say you're in a market. Let's say you're in computer business and software, particularly you're competing with major big companies, huge companies like Microsoft and Google. So this competition is absolutely huge, and it's really hard to compete with these companies. They are giant companies, and they have all different resources. So for one to be able to compete, it makes sense to have some alliance with some other companies, so that at least they can compete in some areas. Then explicit collision. When firms directly negotiate production output and pricing agreements in order to reduce competition, it's illegal. So it's illegal when companies, they just directly negotiate product. Excuse me. Do you want to share something with us, Mr. Kawi?
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Hello. Oh, okay. Yeah, I appreciate if you, when you want to speak, you absolutely are more than welcome to activate your speaker and share your comments or questions with us. But otherwise, please mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, explicit collision, we were talking about it, is when firms directly negotiate production and pricing agreements, and they basically want to reduce competition. But it's kind of, they talk directly in order to do something regarding the production, which is not legal mostly, because they basically create a plan together to do some reverse actions towards the market. They set the prices at the same level together. So this is not necessarily legal, but it depends on the regulations of that certain market that you're doing business in. And then tactic collusion is when firms in an industry indirectly coordinate their production pricing decisions by observing other firms' actions. So this is actually doable, and it's not illegal, and it's ethical. So you just follow. You see the corporations, and you just observe what they do, and then you just follow. So that's illegal. First of all, can everybody hear me loud and clear? Could you please confirm, those of you who can hear me loud and clear, please tell me, just write down in the chat box yes, so that I'm sure that everyone is hearing me. Yes. Good. Yeah, Mr. Bianco, I remember that you had this problem from the last week also, so it might be your speaker, or if it's your, okay. Who can hear me loud and clear? Oh, okay, thank you. So Miss Oria can hear me loud and clear. Anybody else? Is anybody else that have a problem hearing me? Okay, I try to speak louder, but I'm speaking pretty loudly. My presumption is that your speaker, or if it's your headphones, the level, the volume of the sound is not at the maximum. So please make sure that you do that, because I'm speaking pretty loudly. Okay. The assessment of cooperative strategies. Complementary business level strategy alliances, especially the vertical ones, have the greatest probability of creating a sustainable competitive advantage. So we talked about these alliances, and one of the most important points is that it gives you competitive advantage. If it's done correctly, if it's done with the right partner, you will get the competitive advantage you're looking for. You would be able to beat or exceed or excel other competitors in the market. Horizontal complementary alliances are sometimes difficult to maintain because they are often between rival competitors. So this is a very important point. As we discussed, the horizontal, where it's in the same level, same stage of value chain, there is a very big chance that your partner, after learning about you, will separate and will sort of do what you were doing together. There's a huge risk here. So it's you should be careful. The cause and the reason of creating that horizontal complementary alliance should be clear, and the regulation. I mean, you have to regulate and put it into a good contract so that it will save you from future competition. And competitive advantage gained from competitive competition and uncertainty reducing strategies tend to be temporary. That is also very important. We have discussed this competitive advantage over the last few sessions. We have discussed the fact that we are looking for competitive advantage. We're looking for ability to do something better than other competitors. But what they need to keep in mind is that, and that's why R&D is important, is because when you get that competitive advantage, that competitive advantage is not going to last forever. It's going to change. So let's say you are good in producing certain CDs, like compact discs, and you're doing it with the right technology and with the right pricing and everything. So if you just be happy and do it the way you're doing it, after a year or so, or maybe like 3-4 years, you will be out of business because the CDs are almost outdated now, and people came with DVDs, and same goes with DVD. After DVD, you have Blu-ray, or HD. You see that trend. You have to move as fast as the market. You have to be able to maintain your competitive advantage, of course, and try to get new ones according to the market needs. So what you need to consider is if you have a certain competitive advantage, good for you, but you definitely need to look forward to getting new ones, because that's the way the market is going. Okay. Any questions so far, or any comments? Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go too fast for you guys, so whenever you have questions, please pause me and I'll answer your questions. You can just write it down in the chat box, or you can activate your speaker and actually speak. So don't hesitate to tell me if you have a question. Okay. So corporate level cooperative strategy. Corporate level is when we have diversifying strategic alliances, synergistic strategic alliances, and franchising. So these are different types at the corporate level. So the cooperative strategies happen at the corporate level at these three levels: diversifying strategic alliances, synergistic strategic alliance, and franchising, and we'll discuss it in the next slide. So diversifying strategic alliance. You expand to a new product or market areas without completing a merger or an acquisition. So when you have diversifying a strategic alliance, you expand into a new market. Okay, I missed your question. Mr. Shugupa is asking about an example for complementary. So a complementary example would be LG. I'm sure all you guys have heard of the company LG. Previously there were two companies, Lone Star and Gold Star, and they basically together they created an alliance. And now it's actually in a company called LG, which is L stands for the Low Star and G for Gold Star. Or the HP and Compact. So now when you buy your computer, if you buy an HP computer, you see the Compact sign at the very top of your screen, which means that mostly when the hardware is from HP, the software is from Compact, or it's just a mixture of both. But these two companies are actually together now. So those are some complementary companies. And for Compact and LG, it's actually at the same level of value chain or stage. Same as for LG. But for vertical, a good example is Walmart, because Walmart did a lot of strategic alliances with their suppliers, and later on, that's like an example, later on Walmart actually is doing their own inventory and supply. So they are venturing into different venues, like the value chain. They have expanded it a lot, and that's because they are very big and powerful. They have very much power over suppliers. They tell them exactly what to produce with what price range. Instead of the supplier telling them this is the price, Walmart, before the supplier is actually coming into the deal, put it in a condition and said, like, this is how much we're going to pay, and a lot of companies have to just comply, like because Walmart's market is pretty big. So these are different examples. So going back to diversifying strategic alliance, expanding into new product or market areas without completing a merger. So in this case, when you expand into, when you create an alliance, you don't create a merger or an acquisition. You don't buy, let's say, that other company. You just have an alliance together. That's the benefit. Synergistic benefits are less risk and greater flexibility. Of course, the risk involved is less. We discussed that in the previous session. And even in this session, when let's say you're venturing into China and you have a Chinese ally, you actually reduce the risk of entering into that market because that other company has a lot of info, a lot of pool in that new market, so that they can help you. And the greater flexibility, you're more flexible when you have an alliance. You can actually rely on other partner, which is your ally, and you basically have more room in order to do so. And assessment benefits of future merger between. And also, if you are considering to have a merger or even an acquisition, you can actually consider that. You can actually have it like tried. It's like a trial version, like the same way we actually have like 30-day trial of a software or something that we buy. So it's the same. You have a certain period of trial version of that alliance, and if it's really working for you, you might consider some merger or acquisition in the future. Number 20, synergistic and strategic alliance. Diversifying a strategic alliance, synergistic and strategic alliance, actually joint economies of scope between two or more firms. We have explained what we mean by economies of scope. Economies of scope is actually you broaden your scope of producing products or services. So by having an alliance, you increasingly expand the areas of market that you're going to serve and type of products. So it's actually broadening your economies of scope. And then synergy is created across multiple functions or multiple businesses between partner firms. So when it comes to synergy, it's not just at the very last level, or it's not just at the certain level. It's through all levels. So different functions of your company is going to be synergized with your alliance. So it's very important to be ready. That's why we say it's very costly, expensive, and for it to be a success, you need to be well prepared. Because if you just create an alliance and you don't follow these rules, you will probably fail, and that failure is going to cost you a lot. A lot of companies, when they create alliances and they go out of, it doesn't work out. Some of them they close down the business. It doesn't work. Like a lot of banks in America, after the economic crush, they had this problem. They had created this alliance, and after that hit of the economy, they couldn't cope, and they had to declare bankruptcy, and they closed down. So it's very important. It's not just a very simple step when you're going to create an alliance. You have to, what is not discussed here is the corporate culture. You know, the companies have to have certain culture which is similar. You know, if what, like an example of an alliance which is pretty successful for now, but there is a huge chance of problems in the very near future is the alliance, the beginning and later on the acquisition of the bank Wachovia, but Wells Fargo Bank in America. What happened is Wells Fargo Bank is a very sales-oriented bank, and they have their own type of corporate culture, and Wachovia Bank have their own, which is more of a service-oriented version. So when these two companies allied, and then finally Wells Fargo bought Wachovia, now they are having these clashes of interest. They have these clashes of where the Wachovia part is more into service, and the Wells Fargo part is into sales too much. And these are creating a lot of conflict within the company, and that's a very possible, future breakdown problem. So you got to consider, the corporate culture when you do that also. Then we get to franchising. Franchising is also a version actually of alliance, but you're just giving out, permits or license to individuals to use your marketing plan and business plan. So spreads risks and uses resources, capabilities, and competencies without merger or acquisition. A lot of times, like what happens here is like McDonald's branches or Burger King, those are franchises because the license and all those requirements is given to an individual, and they actually comply and get that franchise. So you don't actually acquire or merge with that new business owner, but what you do is you let them use your logos, your marketing plans, your products, but they pay you like a percentage of what they make, or they have to pay actually some monthly or annual payments to be able to be franchised. The contractual relationship is created. So it's developed between the franchisee and franchisor, of course. Franchisor being you, or the company who's giving the franchise. The franchisee is actually the guy who pays for that license. And alternative to growth through mergers and acquisition. So we discussed merger and acquisition, and we said those are alternate. Those are ways for you to grow into the regions and markets that you haven't been to. So this franchise is actually one other consideration for growth. So it's actually very possible, very doable, and a lot of companies, they utilize that. Okay. So now let's pause again. If there are any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to share that with me. Okay. Seems there is no questions. Assessment of corporate level cooperative strategies. So we want to assess those corporate level cooperative strategies also. We want to see if they're doing okay. So compared to business level strategies, they are broader in scope. So when it becomes corporate level, we need to understand the business level is one stage lower, exactly your business level. But when it becomes much bigger step, it becomes business level strategy. So of course the scope is going to be bigger, and it's more complicated, more complex. Like all we discussed about the complexity of those joint ventures and all that. When it comes to corporate level, it's really intense and complex. And it's of course most costly because when you are doing it at the corporate level, you have to put a lot of stuff in place after that certain move like cooperative strategy. So the corporations have to spend a lot of money to make it possible. So it's very, very costly. That's why we say you need to be ready and prepared before you decide to do that. You can't just make the decision and do it. Can I lead to competitive advantage and value? So successful alliance experiences are internalized. The competitive advantage, those experiences that are successful, those good experiences that you have, you try to internalize them and create competitive advantage out of them. And then the firm uses such strategies to develop useful knowledge about how to succeed in the future. So it's very important, as I mentioned, competitive advantage and value should be actually internalized. You can't just have some advantage for a short while and then you lose it because you didn't understand it fully. When it comes to competitive advantage, you want to make sure that you have a good understanding of that and you have internalized that experience. Let's say one department of your company is providing good service to customers. So if they, of course, this is something good and it could lead into a competitive advantage. But if it's only that department and even if we go one step further, it's only that certain employees that are providing great service. And when it comes to other departments, they're doing pretty bad. You have not internalized that good service concept within your corporation, and it's not going to be a competitive advantage. It's just going to be some good service at one department. But if you internalize it all through the company, it could become a competitive advantage because customers feel that service is like overall they get some experience that is unique and better from other companies. So that's something you need to consider. The firm uses such strategies to develop useful knowledge in how to succeed in the future. So success in the market and of course in the future is one big concern for companies. So these strategies are just to help you develop that useful knowledge about success in the future. So as you know, we are living in the information age. So the knowledge is really, really important. You need to be knowledgeable. When you are in a business, when you are doing some certain service or developing certain products, you have to be the most knowledgeable in the market, or at least comparable. So it's all about those useful information and knowledge that you need to be able to foresee the future, to be able to be prepared for the changes. As you can see, like Sony is one very good example for a company which knowledge has been really utilized, and they foresee the future. You know, their products are top-notch products, and they exactly know where they're going, and they basically lead the market. You know, well, whenever you wanna see what's new on, let's say, televisions or like PlayStations or whatever that they are producing, Sony would be a good resource for you as a customer to go see what's new. You know, that's a very, very good compliment for a company. Customers can just check them off and see if there's any changes in the market. That's actually very, very important. So companies like Sony, what they do is actually they just prepare themselves for the next stage. Definitely they focus on doing what they're doing right now right and better than other competitors, but they never just get stuck in there. What they should do, and they do, is they foresee the future. They get ready for the changes that want to happen in the market, and they make it happen. So as you can see, it's really important to know exactly what your next product is going to look like, what your service is going to be like, and how you're going to change it the way it is now, you know. So these are all important factors. Then international cooperative strategies. We do that cooperative strategies also at the corporate level, but internationally, you know. It's a lot of times you have those strategies, it's just at the local level. So let's say just different cities in a country, or even not that far, it's just different segments of a market in the same place. But when it comes to international cooperative strategies, a strategy in which the firms with headquarters in different nations combine their resources and capabilities to create a competitive advantage. That's a huge, bigger step when your headquarters are actually in different nations, you know. So this is actually pretty grand. And a firm may form a cross-border strategic alliance to leverage core competencies that are foundation to its domestic success, expanding into international markets. You know, like what Google has done, their headquarters are in different nations, in different actually continents. You know, they have one headquarter here in the United States, they have a headquarter in Sweden, and you know that is because of the electricity and like internet, all that. So it's according to the you know capabilities of that nation, of that part of the world. It could have headquarters. I mean, when it comes to Google, they have already acquired those headquarters. But at the very first stage, of course, like a construction company is going to a new area, they might decide to have this alliance first, and they might go do it internationally as well. So a firm may form a cross-border strategic alliance to leverage the core competencies that are foundation of its domestic success to expand in international markets. So this is also an important point. When you are creating and expanding those cross-border strategic alliance, you're trying to actually use those core competencies as a leverage or as a tool, as a means that you are using that as a foundation that your domestic success will expand into international markets. So if you are doing well in the local market, you want to take that out and put it into the new, you know, cross-border businesses you are having alliance with. So you try to utilize that. You try to use your success, which you have it locally, and try to make it happen internationally as well. So international cooperative strategies, synergistic and strategic alliances. The continuation of the before, the synergistic, when you synergize with each other, it allows you to share the risk and reduce financial investment. When you have an alliance, when you are having an alliance, you are actually, what you're doing is you're reducing your financial investment, because the same amount that you only were going to put in now is divided with you and your alliance. So that for sure will save you some investment money. And then your host partner, the host partner knows the local marketing customers. We discussed that, So custom duties and all those regulations and local market, let's say if you're venturing into China, a lot of things are different over there, right? So having a host partner, they already know because they are based in China. So that saves you a lot of time, energy, money, and everything when it comes to local market, and especially the custom duties and the way everything is done, you know. International alliances can be difficult to manage due to the differences in management styles, cultures, or regularity. I discussed that with the Wachovia and No.7 example. The strategic, for them, now it's already acquisition, but at the beginning stages, it was just an alliance. And now, as you can see, the international alliances, when it becomes international, it's even a bigger step. Like this was a local example. But when you're talking about different continents, cross-border alliances, it's actually much harder because the corporate cultures are different. The way you're running your company is different. And if you're acquired by another company that they don't respect or they don't value or appreciate your corporate culture, then you have to comply and apply their, ethic rules and everything. So as you can see, you might have a big dilemma here. You might have a big problem here as for, basically regulations and all. So you must gauge partners' strategic intent such that the partner does not gain access to important technology and become a competitor. This is regarding that part that we said they are at the same value chain stage and they learn from each other and later on they become competitors. This is very important. It happens a lot that companies create alliances and then after a while the partner learns some secret information about the company and starts using them against them, utilizing those information, and they become separate from each other. These are very important, so that's really an important matter when you are considering a strategic alliance. The party you choose has to have a lot of qualifications in order to be considered. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of time, money, energy, and it's not going to work out. So now we have network cooperative strategy. A cooperative strategy wherein several firms agree to form multiple partnerships to achieve shared objectives. So in this case, in this scenario, it's not just only a couple, but it's multiple, several companies together to create that partnership. So the objectives are stable alliance network and dynamic alliance network. So when it comes to stable, it's mostly stable within that network that you're creating, and the strategy is actually a stable strategy company-wide, no matter what alliance or partner you're talking about. It's pretty much the same. But when it's dynamic, it's more fluid. It's just going according to the needs and requirements of the market. You have a certain overall similarity and stability, but like at the second level, third level, you will have way more, free rooms for companies to make changes and do it the way they want it to be done. So keys to successful network cooperative strategies. There are keys to have a successful one. One is effective social relationship. Your social relationship, your company's social relationship has to be effective. You have to be able to effectively create that relationship with your net, and then interactions among partners. You need to interact among your partners. You can't just create that partnership and don't interact with each other. It's all about this communication that you have with each other. Otherwise, what's the benefit of doing that? If you're not interacting with your partners, what's the deal with having a partnership? The whole point of having a partnership is to get feedback from each other, to use our each other's value chain and help with the skills and different levels that they have, different resources, the capital, And then when it comes to value chain, like if it's the same level, you do something better, you try to utilize that. You do something better in different parts, you do that. You know, it's just a mixture. You're trying to become better. So if you don't communicate that, it's not gonna work. Okay. Just one more time, a pause here. Any comments or questions? Anybody wants to share something, like an example or an experience that you had in your own company? You're more than welcome to do that. Anybody wants to share something? Any questions or comments? Are you guys following me? Everybody's following me? Okay. Okay. So, network cooperative strategies, stable alliance network. So, to dig deeper, what do we mean by stable alliance? It's a long-term relationship. Mature industries where demand is, and relatively constant and predictable. So when you are creating a stable alliance network, going back to your question, Mr. Muhammad Aziz, when we talk about interaction among partners, as just discussed, is having communication. You know, let's say your partner is cross-border in a different country and you are here. Let's stick to the China example. So the whole point was for you to go to China, and having that alliance or partnership was supposed to help you to do that easier, you know, less risk, less expenses, knowing the regulations and everything. But let's say you create that partnership and then you never communicate with that partner. I mean, what benefit is going to do you? I mean, you're devising your strategic plans, and you're not communicating. I mean, the whole purpose of having that was for you to communicate with them and have interactions so that you will understand what's going on in that market, and that would benefit you because they knew more about that region and market. But now you're not using it, so I mean, it's not gonna help you. So I hope you got your answer. Do you have any other questions on that, or you're good? Okay. Okay, so we discussed about that, the mature industries. So mostly we're doing that in the mature industries, in industries that are well established, like car industry. Not those industries that are just brand new and you're just venturing into them. And then they are relatively constant. You know, they're constantly the way they are, so you can rely on that relationship. And they're predictable. You can predict what's going to be happening later. You know, so that's also one of their aspects. So stable networks exploit economies, scale, and scope available between the firms. So we have discussed the economies of scale and economies of scope, and what are their benefits and how they're gonna give you advantage, like the market advantage and everything. So basically, the economies of scale and economies of scope are actually gained through all these stable alliances. We have been having this issue of speaking loudly. I'm speaking very loud, and a lot of your classmates are saying that they can hear me loud and clear. So it's, I'm presuming that your speaker is not set right or something like that, because I have increased the microphone sound to the max, and I'm trying to speak as loud as I can so that you can understand me. So that could be the problem, because when I ask who can hear me, there are some of your classmates that are able to hear me loud and clear. But those of you who can't, you know, then I would presume it's you know, the speaker. Okay. So going back to stable networks, we mentioned that you would be able to exploit and utilize economies of scale and economies of scope. So you are expanding your market, you're expanding your area that you're serving or offering your products to, and also economies of scale. I mean, you become a bigger company, and so you can save on economies of scale. We have discussed the concept of economies of scale in the sense that when you create 10 of a product, your fixed costs are going to be the same. So basically, it's going to be more costly for you to produce one of that product than you only produce 10. But if you produce 100, your fixed cost is going to be overlaid and divided into 100 instead of 10. So each product is going to cost you less than it would cost you when you were only producing 10. So that's economies of scale, and that's one of the benefits of having a stable alliance. Dynamic alliance. So how about dynamic alliance? It evolves in industries with rapid technological change, like computer or software industry, leading to short product life cycles, like CDs, DVDs, and all that. You see how short the life cycle is. Like computer industry, in the last 20 years, it has changed tremendously. I mean, the computers of today is non-comparable to computers of yesterday, and as a customer, you would never imagine such a rapid change, and now it's like every day something's coming up. It's hard to keep up. Then primarily used to stimulate rapid value-creating product innovation and subsequent successful market entries. So the whole purpose is actually to stimulate this value-creating product innovation. So by doing that, you try to enhance and induce the innovation so that subsequent market entries are successful. And the purpose is often exploration of new ideas. So you do that with the purpose of exploring new ideas, hearing new ideas, and being able to implement them. Because in this area, in this market today, innovation and ideas are really important. Those who are successful, they had a viable, good idea. So it makes sense for you to, in order to get that, you create that alliance. Then, here, competitive risk of cooperative strategies. There are some risks. Partners may act opportunistically. We discussed that. Your partner might decide to just learn the way you do it, and later on they separate and do the same thing and hurt you as a rival. So that's actually a concern. So when you decide to create that alliance, You got to make sure you're choosing the right partner, and you got to make sure you have the right contract set between you guys, so that in future it would not be like a disappointment. Okay. Then partners may misrepresent competencies brought to the partnership. Sometimes partners, they don't represent each other. You know, we discussed that about corporate culture. If your partner is too different from you, and when they're acting in, you know, offering products and services to customers, they are actually representing you. So if it's not a good representation, you got to make sure, you know, you take care of that, because you would be represented by that partner anyhow. The only concern is whether you would be misrepresented or presented correctly. And you got to make sure it's the second choice, because if you're misrepresented, it's going to hurt you, hurt your image, and you lose a lot of your customers. Partners fail to make committed resources and capabilities available to other partners. So we discussed that when you are creating those partnerships and alliances, you are sharing your resources. So you don't want that partnership happen without you having any of those commitments. You want those benefits to be available to you as a partner. So if the partner is not doing it, there's something wrong. Maybe they don't understand the way the partnership goes, so everything has to be bulletproof. It has to be written down and explained and understood. If not, it can cause a lot of problems in the future. It's not just that signature you make and make you guys partner. It's mostly what you do rather than how it appears. Then one partner may make investments that are specific to the alliance, while its partner does not. So you see, the uniformity should be there. Like, you and your partner should be on the same page, should be doing similar actions. If it's too different, there is something wrong. So, in order to manage risk, we have the competitive risks. So, it could be you don't have enough contracts, yet you have misrepresentations of competencies, partners fail to use their complementary resources, or holding alliance partners a specific investment hostage. So all these are the risks of having a, partnership or alliance. Sometimes you do not have enough contracts. Sometimes you're misrepresented. We just discussed that. Sometimes you don't use or utilize the resources of other companies. They don't let you do that. Sometimes they hold part of your investment as a hostage. You don't see any benefit of that investment. That investment gets locked somewhere in that system. So you want it to get going. You want that investment to grow and bring you benefit, but it's just stuck somewhere within the alliance. Then risk and asset management approaches. So the detailed contracts and monitoring. You want to write a detailed contract and monitor that all the time. That helps you to reduce all those blue risks. And developing trusting relationships. It all works on trust, my friends. trust is a very, very big, important part of a business. If you don't trust your partner, if you don't trust your employees, it's not going to work. I mean, the whole thing is actually based on trust. Without having trust, you won't be able to, do anything. So having a trustful relationship is really a key here. And then finally, desired outcome is creating value. We said that in the first session that the whole point is actually creating value. You want to add value. So if you're not doing it, it's senile and it's not useful and it's useless. You got to make sure that you are adding value. So managing cooperative strategies. So cost minimization management approach. You have formal contracts with partners, and you specify that. So the contracts should be formally signed and produced, and you specify how strategy is to be monitored and how partner behavior is controlled. We discussed that the monitoring side is really important. That's all about your corporate culture. That's all about the uniformity and harmony between you and your partner and the representation part. So you want to monitor those strategies. You want to monitor these alliances and partnerships. And the behavior should be controlled. How would you realize if the partner is doing something which is different from your corporate culture? You got to monitor that. You got to report that. And then goals that minimize cost and prevent opportunistic behavior of our partners. So sometimes goals help you minimize the cost and help you prevent opportunistic behavior by partners. That happens a lot. So that is also considered. And then finally, opportunity maximization approach, maximizing partnerships, value creation opportunities. We discussed that it's all about creating value. So you want to increase and expand and maximize the value creation opportunity. You want to make sure you're maximizing that. And then learn from each other. You learn from each other. You and your partner or ally, you teach each other some of the good points and bad points that you have. You sort of liaise with each other. You communicate and interact with each other. And then explore additional marketplace possibilities. You want to see other possibilities out there. You don't want to stay where you are. We discussed that the whole point is growth. If growth is not happening, you're stagnant where you are. You're actually not doing well. It won't be before long that you lose your business, because if you're just doing and providing services and products to the same level of the market, and you're not moving forward, you're not increasing and expanding, you are going to lose your business very soon. And then finally, less formal contracts, fewer constraints. Sometimes the companies decide to have less contracts and have less constraints. They want certain freedom, so they don't want the other partner actually restrict them regarding those, so that they are free to do it the way they used to do it. So it all depends on the benefit that you are looking for and on how you're getting those. So if corporate culture is really an important thing, and it is an important thing, you got to make sure you monitor that. You got to make sure there's space for you to to tell them and dictate how they should perform and how they should, deal regarding the corporate culture. So that formal contract not necessarily is a good thing for you. You want to have everything written down and clear for you. So it all depends. Okay. So this is the end of this part. Before we move forward, let me just give you some tasks because I want to make sure that you understood that. Yeah, here. So as you can see on this page, what I want you to do, we want to have a group discussion here. We have competitive risks, we have risk and assessments, and we have desired outcome. So there are three, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's actually great. So 9 students in the class and 3 topics. So what I want you to do is, Mr. Okay. So the first 3 students I mentioned, Kavi, Mr. Oya, and Dr. Wahedi, you take care of the competitive risks. Then so for you is reverse. Okay. And then for Dr. Naeb, you take care of risk and management approaches. And finally, Mr. Saburi, and Mrs. Kufa Oria, you take care of desired outcome. Okay, so what I want you to do is to explain or re-explain, because I tried to explain it to you, but I want you to put it in your own words. What do you exactly mean by that blue one, the competitive risks? So inadequate contracts and all that. You can come up with examples of your own experience or other companies. So I want you to explain by examples. So the first group will focus on competitive risk. The second group will focus on the risk and assess management, and the last group focuses on desired outcome. Okay, and then you'll tell us your answers and we discuss. Okay, everybody's clear? Is there any question about the task? Okay, please start doing that. I give you a few minutes to discuss that together, and then we'll discuss it. I want you to come up with your own answers. Like, try to make it relevant to your own personal experiences. Try to give some personal examples. So all the answers are to be given in a class, like right after your discussions. I want everybody to work together so you can chat with each other. You can, where you in the chat box, when it's sent to, you can choose who you want to send the text to, and then start discussion. Okay, I repeat that again. I divide you guys into groups of 3, and your group, you just discuss each of you one part. So the first competitive risk is going to be done by Mr. Kavi, Brishna Oria, and Dr. Wahedi. You focus on competitive risk. What do you exactly mean by that? Bring some examples. Then the second part, risk and assess management approaches, is done by Dr. Nayak, Mr. Ahmadzai, and Mr. Aziz. And the last one, Mr. Saburi Miyato and Shigufa Oria, we focus on desired outcome. So bring your own examples and explain to the class. Okay? Your time just starts right now. Thank you. Okay, I give you a few minutes, and then we'll hear your answers and we discuss. So let's do it. Preferably, I would rather if one person from each group will just talk and explain. So who's going to volunteer first? Who's going to volunteer for competitive advantage? Mr. Cowie, Oria, or Dr. Wahedi, which one of you are you going to explain for us your first part? I can pass you the mic, Dr. Nath, don't worry about it. But first, you got to volunteer. Yeah, but uh, okay. Mr. Kavi or Brishna Oria or Dr. Wahedi. Okay, beautiful. Okay, Mr. Oria. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Do you hear me? Hello, everyone.
Yes, Ms. Oria, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't discuss it. I think Dr. Waidi was gone and also Abdul Kavi, I think. I just want that I understand what you tell us, the risks which are the risk will be happen when we have partnership with other companies. That is, one of them is that we do not have experience and we don't know our partner very well before we sign the contract with them, and also we do not have a contract with more details with them. Am I right?
Yes, very good.
Yeah, and maybe it caused that they may misuse or representation of our products, or they will introduce our products not very well to the customers. And also, this is what I got from what you told us.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and how about your own experience? Like, what do you do? Where do you work?
Me? For my company? Yeah. Till now, I don't have any contract with partnership with other companies. Once I had, and on that contract, I didn't face any problem.
So, but what do you do? What company do you work for?
Media Support Partnership of Afghanistan.
Okay. So let's say for media, what are possible risks for a company like yours? Let's say if you're going into a contract with an alliance, so what would be the problems that you could face if you don't have enough contracts, or the partner is not presenting you well? What happens?
Yeah. When we broadcast or present or prepare some programs, maybe if we give to other company to broadcast it, maybe they present it by their name or broadcast it by their name, that they prepare these programs. Or maybe when we want to broadcast some programs, audience cannot hear this program very well.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so now among Dr. Naib and what's the next group? Dr. Naib, Mr. Ahmad Zai, and Muhammad Aziz. Which one are you going to explain for us then? Among Dr. Naib, Mr. Ahmad Zai, and Mr. Aziz. Muhammad Aziz has left the class already though. So Dr. Naib or Mr. Ahmad Zai, are you going to? I just activated your microphone, so if you speak up, we can hear you now. How about Dr. Naib? Would you like to? Dr. Naib?
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you so much. As I mentioned that the voice is a little low. We cannot hear so clearly. But as I got you, everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Dr. Naib. Please go on. We can't hear you anymore, Dr. Naib. You were loud and clear, and now we can't hear you anymore.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Please.
Okay, thank you so much. As I write something regarding the management approach, there are some definition in this regard and some types for management approach, which one of them is technologies involved which make the approach for management, and also degree of complexity in program delivery, as well as objectives and also process time frames, and that transition from project which I got regarding the management approach.
Okay, very good, very good. And how do you apply it to your own company? Let's say the detailed contract. How do you monitor if you form a partnership? How would you monitor? How would you make that trusting relationship?
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, that your voice is very low and it's very difficult to hear it clearly. But when I read it about the partnership, if we want to make a partner at first, it's very important we should make a contract with our partner regarding all everyone activities. Then we will start the partnership, and partnership is one of the most important management which make the management risk is low stage.
Yeah, my question was, how would you apply it into your own company? Let's say if you have a company and you are, or your own company that you work for, how do you monitor a partnership or create that trust relationship?
Okay, thank you so much. Our NGO is working in health areas, and we are partnership with Ministry of Public Health of Afghanistan, and we had a contract with them. The owner of the project is MOPH. We are the implementer of BPH's project, which is one of the Ministry of Public Health approach in Afghanistan. And as well as we have some subcontract in some areas. Like in Herat province, we are the implementer of BPH's project. And Ibn Sina is one of our subcontracts. We had a partnership with them. We contracted before starting the project. We signed a MOU with them. And for now, the fund is coming in, and our organization, then we will take over their I think the thing which they belong to their activities, and we transfer them. And also the activities, we are jointly supervise the project, the clinics, and we are doing like this.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you from all.
Thank you. Okay, and the last group, Mr. Saburi, Mr. Miakhil, or Ms. Oria, which one are you going to? Okay, Mr. Saburi, let me pass you the microphone. Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
The desired outcomes and for creating values. Yeah, the first point that I got from here is the trust. That for the companies who want to become partners, there should be trust among them, and also well understanding of the companies, because when you don't know the company that to become your partner, so it will create some problems in the future. And also the contracts is the detailed contract. It is itself a value. An example of my own company, that we had a contract, a construction contract. At the beginning, we didn't have enough experience, so we couldn't include enough details. But at the end, we faced with some problems, some financial and some responsibilities were not clearly identified to the partners. And also one of the other things in the is a transparency, that it could avoid the point that is mentioned in the competitive risk, the hostages, and also the misrepresenting the resources. This can be avoided, and finally it will change to a value for the partners, because all the risks, not all the risks, but the main risks are explained in the first part. So it can be changing from companies, from in different the partners and the cooperatives may be different, but the contracts, when the contracts are very clear and is written by some experts, so this will be a value for the partnership. And so to know the partners very well, this is another point that I got. Thank you.
And then finally, you create value for the customers. So out of that partnership, you add value to customers and you create a good quality product or service that your customers are going to like.
And because when the partnership lasts, when there are values in the partnership, it will last for a longer time, and it's itself a value for the customers, and customers rely on this partnership, and it guarantees that long life for the partnership.
Thanks, everyone. So that will be the end of the class. I hear, like, once and again that you're asking about the slides. I don't know why you guys haven't received it yet. I make sure that I email it to you today. I was hoping that you have received it from the admin, but just in case those of you who don't have it, I'm going to email it to you. So I just email you the whole bunch of slides to the list of the emails myself, to make sure that everybody has the slides, from next session on you don't hear this comments about receiving slides. But as I was told, they have already sent you the slides, and it's also on LMS. But I will just email you today. Make sure that I'll email you the slides. Okay, so that will conclude our session today. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a nice week. And I'll see you next week. Yeah, sure. I'll send you the whole folder, which includes the slides and the syllabus, which was probably already sent to you, but I just resent it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you created that Google group, you can add me in, and we can do that. So, Dr. Naib, you could create that Google group and add us all into it, and we can share the information. Okay, that's a good idea. We can do that. And my email.